Good afternoon. It is August 27th, 2018. This is the Administrative Committee meeting for the Moscow City Council. To my right is Councilman Art Bedke. To my left is City Supervisor Gary Riedner. I am Gina Terusio. The very first item on our agenda is the approval of the Administrative Committee meeting minutes from August 13th.
Look good to me.
They did indeed to me as well. Our second item, blowing through the agenda that we are, is the Moscow Police Department Explorer Program. Chief Fry and Mackenzie Fosberg, you want to come up and tell us the story?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good afternoon.
How are you? So I brought Officer Fosberg along to do the presentation on this since this program was her idea, and she actually participated in this program when she was in high school, so I'll let her present.
Okay. Hello.
Hi. Can I stand, or do you want me to sit?
If you would be more comfortable standing, I think that'd be okay, but you're welcome to sit.
Okay, I'll sit. Never
like.
mind.
Okay.
So what we're going to go over is the Police Explorers Program. It's a very brief overview of it, but it hits all the important pieces of it.
Good.
So the goals of the program, we've got them listed here: learn about and experience the career in the field of law enforcement, gain skills in leadership, communication, character building, and community service, serve the community through volunteer events, experience positive leadership from adult and youth leaders, and be given opportunities to take on leadership roles, build strong backgrounds of volunteer work and community service for future goals. One thing I've noticed as SRO this last year is that colleges are all about volunteering. So students that are interested in law enforcement don't really have anywhere to go for volunteer hours in Moscow. The requirements will be all young adults between ages of 14 to 18 years of age. The ability to continue, an example of that would be if a Moscow High student is going to U of I and they'd like to continue in the program, they're still in the community, they could still be active in the program. With approval, of course. A resident within Latah County, that's another important thing, is that it's not just Moscow, it's the surrounding communities in Latah County that will be involved. Meet educational requirement of 2.0 GPA or higher, and then the City of Moscow American insurance coverage as well.
That's the eye crimp.
Awesome.
So the structure of the program, 6 to 8 explorers is the cap I put on it for the first round. I didn't want to overwhelm myself with more than 8, and I'm hoping that there's at least 6 that I can find. Trainings will be twice a month, shooting for the first and third Thursday of each month from 5 to 9 p.m. The trainings, if you're familiar with Citizens Police Academy or the Reserve Academy that Moscow Police does, then it's very, very similar to those and kind of a combination of those. Some of the topics up there: traffic stops, DUI, arrest techniques, ethics, leadership, criminal law, court system, and then tons more, obviously twice a month. Events is probably the biggest thing, in my opinion, for the program, which is volunteering in the community. Working as SRO at Moscow PD, I facilitate a lot of the events we do in the community. And so having kids out there with us and volunteering with us with the actual police department and working with us will be a really huge benefit. And they're just listed up there, examples: the New Bill Fair, National Night Out. The other thing would be the high school events, football games, sporting events, stuff like that. The career fair, walk to school day. Every school is looking for volunteers for crosswalk people, so that would be a good example as well. How does the program impact explorers? The most important thing about this program is how it helps kids. So this is just a list of the most important ways that it does that. It helps them serve the community. They become a role model for younger kids, especially high school to the elementary school age level. Positive character building. Future applicants of MPD or other agencies. I was told by one of my sergeants after he was doing some research on the best ways to recruit for police departments, and Explorer programs are actually one of the top things that do that, so that's really good. Experience to put on college applications. Like I mentioned, colleges really love volunteer work in what kids are passionate about. Gaining skills in leadership, high ethical and moral standards, and service, and bringing together MPD and youth in our community, obviously always a good a good thing to do. Providing a head start into a career in law enforcement, showing young people how and why officers do what we do, setting them up for when they do become adults and do encounter law enforcement so they kind of know how it goes and why we do what we do. And then role models among peers, so setting examples within their age group. So the last slide here is, the picture is actually a picture of, that's me in the front, of when I was in high school. I don't look very different, but I did cut my hair, so that's good. When I was in high school, I grew up in Washington, and I was involved in my Explorer program. And I can honestly say that without the program, I probably wouldn't be in law enforcement today. It was that program that got me into it, my first experience with it. I have no family members in law enforcement or anything like that. But because of the program, I set myself up to go into college and I started at MPD 2 days after I graduated from WSU. So, and then the point that brought it all together for me, working as SRO, was I was working the career fair at Moscow High last year, and kids were coming to me and asking, how old do you have to be a cop? And you have to be 21, and they're 14 years old. Going, okay, so what can I do in the meantime? What can I do now? How can I get involved? And I had nothing for them. So I didn't like having nothing for them. So that's kind of just the beginning of the whole program. But that's the end of the presentation, so if you have any questions or...
Okay, first of all, you didn't need to stand. You did a good job sitting there. Thank you. That was a good presentation. I'm excited about this. This is so cool. I don't know that I could get any more enthusiastic, especially also hearing that it'll be a county-wide program. I love that idea. I do think that sometimes the outlying communities tend to kind of fall by the wayside a little bit. It's nice that we can expose them to the quality here in
the
Moscow.
career fair, those kids from all the counties, or from all the schools were there. And so that was kind of the pressure point there.
Do you have any questions?
Well, one
Statements?
question and a
Yeah.
statement, but I think it's a great way to form a bridge between the younger demographic in the county and in the city and the law enforcement community, and I think that's something that really is beneficial to everyone. And the investment in terms of money is negligible, really, and so it'd be money well spent. But I did have one question in the manual. It says that the team leaders have to have 5 months in the program before they can be team leaders. What do you do when you don't have anybody who's got 5 months at the beginning?
I think it'll be a kind of a building block process. So obviously everything is brand new in this first round, and we'll go through the first 5 months and work together and build the team, and then see where it goes after that. And after the first 5 months is probably when we'll start the leadership roles, just so everyone's in the same playing field and everyone's
So
on the same
everybody
level.
gets to start from the same starting line?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that was just one of those little wordsmithing gaps that I looked at. Wait. So, no reason other than that for the question.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, well, sorry for being late
that's okay.
today. But yeah, I just, you probably mentioned this, but when is the program going to start?
We're shooting for October at this point.
Fantastic. Thanks for taking the initiative. I think this is great.
There's a part, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. Certainly, Gary.
Mackenzie, what you noted that the Explorers will be involved in MHS events. Are you talking about football games, basketball games, things like that?
Yeah, I think it has the possibility to do whatever helps the school, honestly. And they're students at the school. So when I did it in my high school, we worked tons of craft fairs and stuff like that that were sponsored by the school. So I think it'll be, like I said, it's going to be trial and error for the first
More
part of it.
trial, less
But
error.
yeah, but definitely have the school very involved in what they want. Because I know from my experience of this last year as SRO, they want our presence there, so.
Okay, thank you.
I just think it's awesome, and I think you are awesome too, and I'm thinking you'll be chief someday. Kind of impressed with you. So here's my conundrum.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like her to speak again at the council meeting, but do we want to put it on consent, sir?
Be my suggestion, you go to regular agenda. If you're trying to launch the program, that seems to be a good springboard.
Yay, sorry, you got to come back to council meeting. but
All right.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Yeah. I say we do recommend approval, though.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
From the administrator. Okay,
yeah.
awesome. We'll see you in a week.
Great.
All right.
Thank you. I
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Thanks, guys. Okay, our next item is a request for city to provide IS support to PEP. As some of you may know, I do economic development for this organization during the day, so I will be available for discussion purposes as the PEP Executive Director. And then we'll go back to my other hat. How's that?
So does that make the vice chair in charge of this one?
I do believe so.
Oh, okay. Jesse, go right ahead.
All right, staff has been working with Pat and Gina to try to come to an agreement of what can we do to help support PEP and allow PEP to focus on economic development and not have to deal with the IT headaches that usually come along with the modern workforce. The city does have a good amount of resources available. We have existing structures and processes that we can plug in, just this, one user and or two users and a couple computers into our existing management updates, security processes, and email web hosting. And this is actually based on a very similar agreement, which is the next one on the agreement that we've been doing with Smart Transit for the past 4 years. So overall, I think that we're well suited for supporting this. Part of the reason why is that PEP is in the city building. They are on our local network, much like transit, and we already have the processes in place, and we can help focus on it and hopefully be a good value added to PEP to let them focus on development instead of making printers work.
Oh, dear God. I would very much support what Jesse's saying and add to that this will not be a free service. We'll be involved in paying for this service, well invested money. It's also a way for the city to ensure its investment in PEP, to keep me doing exactly what I need to be doing and not wishing that my computer and my cell phone spoke to each other. So that's really I'm not being flip. That is the case. So.
Does this involve any hardware commitment, or is this the services for making sure everything is running and communications are functioning smoothly?
We do not need to purchase any new hardware for this. The one area where we might come into an issue for cost would be software licensing, and that's where PEP would then reimburse the city the actual cost for it. We're anticipating that would be the only real cost associated with this project.
So PEP takes care of its own computers and printers?
Yep, they're responsible for their own computers, and they do need to be approved by the IS department, so we're not going to go down a rabbit hole of having to support equipment that we're not familiar with or not able to actually provide support for.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do you have any?
Mine was about the chargebacks, but it looks like you'll be in the same boat as everyone else with that, in terms of paying IT back in the same way the rest of the city is set up.
Yeah, the contract's actually set up to allow a base amount kind of as part of our contribution to support PEP. But if at some point the city or the time's going, there's the option to move to a chargeback model if needed. Initially, our expectation is just be the cost recovery for the actual software costs we have to pay.
Yes.
In the interest of full disclosure, I also am a board member of PEP, and as Ms. Taruscio will likely be recusing herself off the vote for this. This is very similar to the second contract that we're talking about with Smart Transit. We also support Smart Transit in a similar way that we support PEP. They are in a city building. It just removes a lot of complications as they're interfacing back and forth with the voice over IP, the network support, that sort of thing. Really isn't a huge issue. It's all the same system, but it just allows us a certain level of support for both of these organizations that we already support.
It would seem to facilitate everything for everyone with a contract like this. You have anything, Ann?
I hope it makes your work easier,
Oh, thank you.
makes it flow better.
I have every hope then and belief that it will.
So we're in favor, I take it, and can put this on the consent agenda.
That works for me.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so our fourth item, Jesse, if you just stay where you're at, sir, is continue provision of IS support to Smart Transit.
Yep. The city has been providing IT support to Smart Transit for the past 4 years. We had the option to renew the contract, but instead we decided to go for a contract modification. The real main difference compared to the past is we're including that Smart Transit will have to reimburse the city for licensing costs. Other than that, it's pretty much the same thing we've been doing. We have a virtual server set up that they run on. We've added them to our mail server, and we use our remote support whenever possible and on-site when remote support does not work. So it's really just continuing with what we've been doing with the modification to cover our actual costs for the licensing.
Seems pretty straightforward again. No surprises there. We've already kind of waded in on the others, so much the same.
I've actually had the ability to look over the contract for both, and they look remarkably the same. And I find that consistency very good. So I think
Labor
it's a
saving.
smart investment of our time and our effort.
Yeah, Brandy, did your question pertain to this item? I'd be interested in if.
You need to come forward.
Yeah,
It's actually, is both of them have the clause that the city can waive the fees at any time? And
Indeed.
I was curious if that's always been that way for Smart Transit, or is that a new part of this agreement?
The way that we always treated Smart Transit is if Smart Transit applies for FTA grants, and those FTA grants have a lot of in-kind things that supporting entities can do for them. So some of the information systems things that we've done because they are in our building, they've been able to leverage FTA monies for those. So that's why that's in there. And certainly the city always has the ability to do that. City supports Smart Transit, I believe, this year is somewhere around 130 some odd $1,000. Our support for PEP is about 40,000. So if there is a way to leverage that, or if there is an additional need, we could come back to the council and say, you know, this is something that, for whatever reason, we'd like to have a waiver, partial waiver of something like that. Smart Transit could ask, PEP could ask, and council would have to do that on its own.
Okay, thank you.
sure. Thanks for that suggestion, bringing Brandy up, Ann. Okay, so what say you?
On to
Shall we go ahead
consent.
and recommend approval similar to the PEP one? Okay, we'll put that on consent,
Will do, thank you.
please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jesse. Thanks for all your help on this, too. Okay, that is the end of our regular agenda. We do have a report from Kathleen Burns on the ACLU mural update. Anxious to hear this one.
Yes.
So I just wanted to give you an update of where we're at with the mural project.
Awesome.
And the call for artists has been out and circulated. September 7th is the final due when people need to submit. September 10th, they're going to do the first vetting of artists in Boise with ACLU. September 17th, we'll do the second vetting here at City Hall. I've reserved a room. And the folks that are going to be involved in the jury selection panel consist of George and then Carly, who own the Moscow Hotel, two MAC members, Donna Woolston and Lauren McCleary, a representative from the Chamber of Commerce, Sandra Kelly, who has agreed to serve with Human Rights and the Historic Commission. And also representing the arts at U of I would be Roger Raleigh with the Pritchard Art Gallery. And then we have not secured someone from the law school yet, but we're working on that. And then Kevin Kelpie, who you met, that was here to help to present. He'll be here to facilitate the final jury. And then Kevin is also presenting on the ACL mural project at our NowPAC conference that is here on September 18th and 19th. So I just wanted to kind of let you know how the window's going, and yeah.
Cool.
Excellent.
Any questions? Okay,
No.
Excited to see it.
Okay.
excellent, Kathleen, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that is the end of our meeting, period.
Dang.
Shall we adjourn?
Adjourned.
Thank you.